Foremost, Joe Cohen, our president and CEO. Joe just left.
Well, Joe will be. Guys, Joe hasn't left the building. This isn't.
Okay, yeah, Joe. Okay, that's up.
Joe will be back.
Joe. Okay, so what did I just say, Rob? We're gonna fumble through the introductions now. All right. So second,
a little comedy we had to throw in there. All right.
Secondly, to have to come in sooner than he was ready for, but we know he's prepared. We have our CEO and co-founder of the EFA movement, a man that I am blessed to call a mentor, a brother, and a partner outside of EFA as well, Mr. Chris Salem. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing awesome today. Wednesdays, I love it. We've had what a wonderful day we had. Got a lot of great things going on, and we're looking forward to sharing some great content with you folks tonight, and for those that will be listening later.
Absolutely. I love this guy. All about the message, all about the value. And last but certainly not least, we have my brother from another mother, the man himself with the, I believe, gold-rimmed glasses tonight, stepping it up a notch, from SB CEO, Small Business CEO, and part of the group Abundant Society, one of my favorite groups on Facebook. We have the man himself, Rob Howes. Rob, how are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing fantastic.
You look fantastic.
I woke up this morning, man. And I've gone to a site called the Life and Death Clock, and you literally can. It shows you how many people are being born and how many people are departing, and it's pretty fascinating when you watch. So when I wake up, I'm like, thank you. I'm on this side of the clock.
Holy, really?
Yeah. Yes, I'm thankful.
Okay, all right, awesome.
Joe's back, guys.
We're bouncing out of order, but let's get back to the man that's going to start us off anyway, and the man who is responsible, as I call him, the master of our content and curriculum at the EFA movement, our president and co-founder and originator of what makes that indispensable. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joe Cohen is here. Joe, how are you, sir?
Good. Great to be here with you all.
Awesome. Joe's the only one that did not stumble through the introduction, so that makes it too ironic. Joe, you are absolutely going to be leading us off. This was your article. This was one of your masterful topics and eloquent ways of delivering this message. So why don't you go ahead and start this town hall meeting off?
Great. Thanks for the introduction. It's great to be with you all here. Welcome, everyone. So one of the things that inspired the forming of Empowered Fathers in Action was the journalism that I provided and that Chris picked up on, which was the reason why we had our first radio show interview, the book that I wrote with my son, Right Father, Right Son, A Bond Building Journey, is all about getting fatherhood right from one man's perspective. However, since then, and working with Chris, who focuses on addressing the root cause and providing sustainable solutions, all of the writing that I've done, both on the rightfatherrightson.com platform, which preceded our website, efamovement.org, was based on research. And my perspective as a former teacher and journalist is all about research, evidence-based, and the work that Chris has been doing over the many years with his clients is also evidence-based. So we're all about providing solutions. And to that end, the article that I wrote, What Makes Dad Dispensable, is a follow-up to the first article that I wrote, which was part of our first town hall meeting. I won't get into that, but the reason why I mention all of this journalistic stuff is that rather than me speak from the cuff here, what I'd like to do is to frame this discussion with some proper context. I'd like to take it from the article. It's me speaking, but in words. This article can be found on our blog. Again, it's What Makes Dad Indispensable. The blog can be found on efamovement.org. So I'm just going to jump into that. I'll provide the framework, and then everyone else can contribute as they would like.
Okay.
So I'm not going to read the whole thing, just excerpts from it. So while many dynamic women are no longer settling on a man just to have a child, a growing number of scholars and writers have been grappling with the question, are dads dispensable? What this view overlooks, says Bradford Wilcox, author of Gender and Parenthood, Biological and Social Scientific Perspectives, is a growing body of research suggesting that men bring much more to the parenting enterprise than money, especially today when many fathers are highly involved in the warp and woof of child rearing. And everyone on this call, except for Davey, who doesn't have any children, but has been involved in a big way. That's why we're all here. So in their positive approach to child rearing, wrote Mr. Wilcox in The Distinct Positive Impact of a Good Dad, How Fathers Contribute to Their Kids' Lives. And that was written in the Atlantic magazine, a very old and well-respected journal. Fathers are more likely to encourage their children to take risks, embrace challenges, and be independent, whereas mothers are more likely to focus on their children's safety and emotional well-being. And although the safety and emotional well-being are critical for helping a child feel secure and self-confident, attributes such as taking risks, embracing challenges, and being independent must be modeled and nurtured from an early age to help develop what Chris has coined as a prosperity mindset. Risk-taking is vital for accomplishing new things and the precursor for embracing a new challenge. And personal development would be impossible without surmounting new challenges. So just very briefly, not much longer, but this sets the tone, so indulge me here for a second. So the combination of feeling self-confident and secure with risk-taking empowers children, and according to psychologist Daniel Paquette, it teaches them to be braver in unfamiliar situations, as well as to stand up for themselves. In his review of scholarly research, Mr. Paquette noted that scholars generally find that dads are more likely to have their kids talk to strangers, to overcome obstacles, and even to have their toddlers put out into the deep during swim lessons. Now, interestingly, the swim lesson study that fathers tend to, the swim lesson study found that fathers tend to stand behind their children. Finds that their dads are more likely to have their kids talk to, pardon me. The swim lesson study found that fathers tend to stand behind their children so the children face their environment, whereas mothers tend to position themselves in front of their children, seeking to establish visual contact with their children. This is a very, very different dynamic and significant because in facing their environment, children are being taught to welcome and confront new situations, which fosters risk-taking and accepting challenges. And the more a teenager or young adult is willing to take a risk and accept a challenge, the more independent they will become, having a sense of independence, which will foster the desire to build skills and contribute to society. Finally, developing a prosperity mindset is an awareness that one is capable of providing values to others while making a difference in the world, and is the foundation for someone to enjoy sustainable success over a lifetime. So thanks for indulging me there. I hope I've set the stage properly. Go ahead with what you want to proceed with Davey, and let's build on that.
All right, so we would have normally we would have Ellie going on right now, but shout out to Ellie and Brad. Ellie's celebrating one of her son's birthdays, so our love and gratitude, appreciation to Ellie. Bob, you're up next on the train, brother. Joe said a lot of really powerful things. Just read a lot of really powerful things: awareness, independence, father standing behind their children, and the thought process behind that. Taking risks, embracing challenges, prosperity mindset. What's your take on everything that Joe just informed the audience of? Give him your side. Give him your take, bro.
Man, it's dead on. I mean, it's not only dead on. It's so accurate that if you accept it, you will transform your house, your relationships. I don't think that people want to have dysfunctional families. I just think that we're not aware of the choices that are around us. And so when those choices present themselves, it's really in our best interest to become aware, because once you become aware, then you get interested, then you take action. It's 3 steps. Become aware, take interest, take action. So I love it, man. And here's the awareness. Here's what's powerful about going back to letting your children face challenges. Like we want to, for example, my family, we're in a neighborhood where, the school system, we're not that excited about it all the time. Some things happening in the school that we were talking about, okay, well, if we just keep him in homeschool, then he'll never experience, or they'll never experience anything. So should we shelter them? But then it's like, okay, well, it's not sheltering them. I just don't want to throw them to the wolves. So all these thoughts going on. Our goal as a parent, we want our children to face challenges now, because that will prepare them in the future. What did you call it, Chris? Prosperity mindset?
Prosperity mindset, correct.
Yep.
That sounds like a growth mindset, and we're preparing our kids to have a growth mindset by allowing them to face challenges. But the way Joe beautifully illustrated in his write-up, and his son, I'm not your son, it was your son, and he wrote back to you. And he was talking about how your support to him was always like you were there with a pillow and some firecrackers. And the pillow was for his head to rest, and firecrackers was to celebrate him. Like he felt that. And at the same time, I know that not only did you lift him up, but you allowed him to go through challenges. And so that's it. The proof is in the pudding. But we need to be spreading more of this pudding around, okay? we need to have this pudding floating around. And this is what the internet does. This is what these opportunities do, and networking does. So, I got that was my short piece. I wanted to say, go back to the website at EFAmovement.org.
Yep.
EFAmovement.org.
Yep.
Go to the site, read the articles. Even if you're not a father, even if you don't have children, these principles, number one, work for any type of person, any lifestyle. But a father, a family, and you can encourage them to do the same thing, because knowledge is power, but wisdom is flicking the switch. Proper application of knowledge. So knowledge is, yes, we have the tools and ideas how to prepare our children and to prepare ourselves, but we have to take action and actually do it. And for me, and so our decision, after analyzing and as a family in regards to RJ and our family going to public school or homeschool, our decision came down to what was their personality and what did they want, and had them explain to us why they wanted what they wanted. By them articulating what they wanted, they were able to own what they wanted. And now we hold them to it. So, I mean, and there's more to the story, but there's tiny little principles, man, that I'm thinking about that we witnessed and experienced. And I just want to document it, memorialize it so that the world could see it,
That's so this one, bro, this is for you and for your partner, Glenn. So you're saying that we need to make an abundant society of pudding.
Yeah.
Okay. We need pudding in abundance. All right. That makes sense. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna touch back on that. But it's funny because you said, you know, something with your children and their personalities and empowering them to choose what they want. That goes right back inadvertently to one of the things that Joe was talking about with independence. Now, I love the prosperity mindset. It's something that I've been super blessed with Chris. Now, Chris, I know you're going to talk about the prosperity mindset. Um, some powerful words that I'm sure you're going to hit on, but I just want to. Rob brought up acceptance, and you and I both also we love that word. I know Joe's big on acceptance, but the awareness, interest, action thing, Rob. I'm going to touch back on that, but Chris, tell the audience, tell everybody what the prosperity mindset is and how it applies to this particular topic that we're discussing.
Well, I mean, the prosperity mindset, you know, if we look at it in an adult, it's somebody that, you know, it has been aware of where they were and now has a clear vision of where they want to go. So they were aware that they weren't where they wanted to be at the time. They accepted where they were and made a commitment to get to the root cause of the challenge or limited beliefs that got them there in the first place. And once they were able to go through the process of forgiving the source to their root cause, once they got there through the process, they could create a solution that aligns with the why or purpose where they want to go moving forward. So they adopt the right types of habits and disciplines that are necessary to create that prosperity mindset to move forward. Now, that being said, do you create a prosperity mindset when you become an adult? No. This is something that goes right back to childhood. You can start right in childhood. So what Joe and Rob were talking about when Joe had mentioned, you know, you could put an infant in a pool and that you got the dad behind the infant and yet you got the mother in front. So one of the things using that example that Joe put out there is that by putting that infant in the pool, yes, his dad is there to support him, right? He's not going to let the child drown, but he's giving the child an opportunity to understand, be aware of his surroundings, right? And to be able, even in that child's small mindset at that point, be able to process and be aware of what's going on, to accept the environment that he's in, and to make certain choices of what he or she has to do. Now, in this case, it's treading water, or, you know, your head goes under and then your head goes back up. You know, it's survival in a way. But nonetheless, even then, it's giving the child the opportunity to empower him to make decisions, to be aware of his surroundings, to accept where he is, where he or she wants to go, and to move forward. And so this is an empowering type of an example that we could create, that children, even at that young age, could start that development process, because what we're doing is that we're not enabling the child, we're empowering them. We're giving them, even at that age, responsibility to do what they can within their power at that time. And these are the things that life is built upon. We build upon these types of situations. And when we empower our children to become more responsible, to be accountable and responsible for the choices they make, this in turn will help create a prosperity mindset that will lead to higher self-confidence, self-image. They'll have more clarity, and with more clarity, they have the ability to be present, or actually, when they're present, they'll have more opportunity to have more clarity, and with that clarity, they're more decisive, and they'll take massive action. So, getting back to the father role, why this is important is that this doesn't minimize what the mother does, that the mother's not there enabling or just babying. She's nurturing that child. There's another aspect of that Ellie could definitely shed insight on. Nurturing is so important to the development of a child, even at a very young age. But on the flip side, if you look at the yin and the yang, you have to be able to empower these kids, even at that age, to take responsibility by teaching them. This is where the prosperity mindset takes shape. And because kids are sponges, at least their minds are, then they absorb and learn by example what they see and model themselves after what their parents are doing. A blend of both is going to produce a child that is going to have a higher self-confidence, in self-image. So real quick to keep it so I don't keep going on, but even if you have a child that has maybe been raised by a single parent and the mother's done a wonderful job, and let's say the child still does well in school, is maybe a phenomenal athlete, that being said, there could still be certain things missing in other areas of that child's life as he or she evolves because there wasn't a father figure present. So even if there's a child that does not have a father, it's so imperative that there is some type of father figure in some way to balance that. And when you have a father that understands the value of the prosperity mindset, understands that here he has had his own limited beliefs, but has moved beyond it to be an example for that boy or girl to not live under limited beliefs, but to come from limitless thinking, it can balance it out to empower that child to be more responsible, more accountable, and to recognize that if there are things working against them, that they have the power to go within to make those changes. So that being said, that's what I'd like to throw in about the prosperity mindset that Joe used, what Rob had elaborated on with family. It's so important that if we're going to produce better leaders in our communities, better leaders in our in our homes as parents and spouses, and better leaders in our businesses, this is the type of thing that we have to look at and develop. And everyone's responsible: teachers, youth coordinators for sporting programs and other children's activities, law enforcement, community directors in the towns that you live. Everyone plays a part in this to be the example. And this is how we're going to invoke a movement and change to make this a world a better place going forward.
Boom, like boom. Every time Chris talks, it's a boom. So I think Chris did a really nice job of explaining the prosperity mindset and brought everything kind of full circle for everybody so that they could kind of see this from start where the issue is to finish where there's a solution. So before I give my 2 cents and close this out for everybody, Joe, I'll give you the opportunity first. Is there anything else that you would like to add since after what Rob had spoken about? And Chris, is there anything else you'd like to add to this?
What I'd like to accentuate is that studies show that children who have both parents involved significantly, whether they're in the same household, which is strongest, or whether they're in different households, but there's equal partnership in raising the child. Irregardless, moms and dads contribute different things to the parenting dynamic. It's as important for a child to feel safe and secure and confident as it is for them to feel comfortable with taking risks and getting out of their comfort zone to develop personally. So between those two dynamics, that's where we empower children to fulfill their potential. And that's what EFA movement is all about, is helping to develop a prosperity mindset so everyone involved, children, parents, grandparents, can fulfill their potential and help the world become a more peaceful, harmonious place.
Awesome. Very well said, as always, Joe. Bob, anything else you'd like to add to Joe and Chris?
Yeah, man. It's this parenting thing is pretty amazing. So it's a learning process. And the thing I've learned, the biggest lesson that I've learned when it comes to my children is the same way that you like people to listen to you, they want to be listened to as well. There is a balance because there is direction that needs to be given, and if there's a truck coming, we're not going to do a lot of talking. I'm going to do all the talking. You're going to move. But there still are the pockets where you're giving them that, you're letting them take initiative, make decisions. And by doing this and just being there with them, and allowing them to make those decisions, they get used to making decisions. When they come across conflict, and they're used to how coming against conflict. So it's important for parents to understand we're not going to be flawless, but if you go into it with the mindset of I'm going to support my children, I'm going to listen to them, and I'm going to make sure they go through challenges. And, I mean, there's more to it, but listening to them that allows you to have that authentic relationship and making sure they're at least going against. I mean, it sounds weird, but I want my children to have conflict. I want them to go through stuff, and I'm going to support them through it. If they fall, I'm going to say, guess what? You could have went that way instead of this way, but good try, And then later in life, when someone comes at them and they got to deal with this breakup, they lost their job, and they got this conflict, they're already primed to deal with it. So,
love it, man. Chris, anything any sprinkles you would like to add to the icing?
I think Rob and Joe just really nailed it right there. I mean, it's so important, what Rob was and Joe, planted the foundation, Rob expanded on it. Again, children have to, learn responsibility, at a young age. We are in control and responsible for our own lives. Yes, as children, they count on parents for certain things, but we have to be able to let them, out of the nest. We have to let them go out there and venture and experience things, because the only way they're going to learn is by setbacks and challenges, and empowering them to develop that mindset. They can be proactive to solve problems early on, so as they get older, they won't look at these setbacks as problems or further problems. They'll look at them as actually stepping stones and opportunities disguised in them to get them to where they want to be. It's all really a shift in thinking from limited beliefs to limitless beliefs, and again, recognizing that they have the power and the ability to do amazing things. We just have to allow them to do that, and again, using a combination of the nurturing and giving them that responsibility on some level to learn how to make those choices and be accountable for them. So very important in this process, and why the dad role is so important.
Yeah, so I want to firstly, before I give my sentiment on this, Joe, absolutely just eloquently put, phenomenal. Rob, your perspective, not just as a dad, but as a man, is something I'm always blessed with to have in my life. But for other people to be able to hear your message coming from you, I think is fantastic. And Chris, we already know how much you love when I toot your horn, but all three of you are phenomenal fathers. And there's a powerful aspect that was brought up that's going to be part of me bringing all of this together. I am not a father, and I am also I don't shy away from that. For those of you that don't know, my wife and I, there's an inability for us at this moment to have children biologically. That just means that God's a lot smarter than some people give him credit for not wanting to spawn another one of me out just yet. But one of the things that empowers within me with EFA is I am so dedicated to this message because I don't have the ability to be a dad per se. I have the luxury of being an uncle. I have the tremendous luxury of being a coach and a speaker and getting to work with Chris on a daily basis. But I have something that you guys don't. And I believe that the universe has given me something even more powerful. And it has allowed me, through you guys, to take on EFA as my baby. And that's how I look at EFA. Like, it is my own child, and we're trying to groom it. And it's got amazing, men and women in its life. And I think that's very important. So I wanted everybody to know that for me, I also don't have the unfortunate story that some people do with their dads or their parents. Really love and gratitude to my dad and my mom, because they were and are amazing people. I'm the oldest of four. I have amazing brothers. Every mistake that I made in my life was my own doing. So I can relate to children and sons and daughters in a way that, listen, everything that these three fathers just shared, and that moms alike would agree with them on this thought process. Children have to be part of the solution as well. And so it's something that I take with tremendous pride in getting the children. And I'm talking kids, young adults, teenagers, into their, adult years. It's important for me to make sure that they do hold themselves accountable for their part in the process. And for everybody that's watching this, there were some very powerful words that were constantly brought up. Empowerment. Empowerment. It is something that parents and children, everybody alike needs to grip, is that empowering is something that's sustainable because it's duplicatable, it's residual. Enabling is something that turns into a challenge. And I believe that a lot of people right now are enabling, whether they know it or not. And that's something that we can absolutely help get to the bottom of, get to the root cause, as my partner says, and really stop operating from within the problem. Awareness is what's going to make that happen for people. And so that's where the solution-based approach that we have at the EFA movement comes in. We're bringing solutions evidence-based, like Joe said, where awareness empowers acceptance. Chris brought up clarity. It's something that we speak on often, Rob as well, and it's something that Joe is keen on. With clarity, we can have children and dads, especially, that are afraid to step up because of what society tells them the outcome's going to be. That's another thing. We live in a society where society dictates what the outcome's going to be, and it invokes fear in dads and moms, even in kids. That's why we have the bullying issue that doesn't stop in school. It goes out into communities and corporations, and that's why part of our full-centric approach with EFA. But when we're able to have the clarity, we can commit, like Chris said. This is where we understand what we can control. Compassion is a lost art in today's world, ladies and gentlemen, and it's something that Joe has for himself, for his son, and for other people. Same thing with Rob Howes, same thing with Rob's partner Glenn, same thing with Chris, and same thing with Ellie and Brad. The compassion is what breeds consistency in your process. And everything that we talk about, all of our solutions, the solutions that we all have that we're bringing to this movement, they are sustainable because we have the consistency, but we have the process in place where we have a wide ocean of opportunity, a wide open ocean of opportunity. And in order for us to truly tackle everything that we have to, we need to appreciate that conflict. Rob, you said something very powerful, and I wanted to tap on that as well. Conflict. You want your kids exposed to conflict. I love that because the best part of conflict, as you know, and Joe and Chris know, the best part of conflict is resolution. And that's a powerful thing that we can have all children, young men, and dads, especially dads. You need to empower conflict with your children, not meaning you conflict with them, not meaning you fight with them, but you empower them to go through that conflict because self-awareness, self-resolution, self-embracing becomes self-sustaining. And that is how we sustain all of the solutions within the EFA movement. And so we plugged it a couple times. You can visit efamovement.org to learn about our movement, what we're all about, the resources that we're able to provide, the programs that we're offering, the components, the core components to what we're doing. And I encourage everybody to learn about our movement. Get yourself educated. Bring awareness to what you can control. Once you're aware of what we're doing, I promise you, you'll want to stay involved with us because we're already making a tremendous impact. Joe is already making a tremendous impact in the Jacksonville area. Rob, you're making a huge impact in the DC area, bro. And that's expanding. I mean, you make it even more of a global impact. That's impressive, brother. Chris, you have a global impact, but up there in the New York area and Connecticut and that vicinity, you're making an impact. And I'm blessed to be making an impact from the middle of nowhere, Florida. And we're all doing it together. The solutions have to be done together. And ladies and gentlemen, we can complicate this until we're purple in the face. Bringing awareness to the epidemic is complicated, so let's do something ridiculous. There's a new show, New Amsterdam. I'm not big on TV, but there's a new show, New Amsterdam. I love the doctor. I love the main character. He's got a very fascinating. His persona is very fascinating. But the question that he always asks, their punchline, is how can I help? So, ladies and gentlemen, rather than asking how you can help us, we ask you on behalf of Joe and Chris and all of our staff and members, board, directors, advisors at EFA, on behalf of Rob and Glenn, Ellie and Brad with the 24/7 parenting solution that they have, let us know how we can help. Because we can't rely on systems to fix themselves, and we can't rely on people that don't have the resources. So let's bring that. So I'd like to, before I close this out completely, is there anything else that anybody would like to add? I'll just go in order again. Joe, anything else you would like to add?
Just one point to Rob's point about conflict. On the other side of a challenge is an opportunity. And when that opportunity is seized, there is growth, and as a result, wisdom that is, in the immortal words of many people and our co-founder here, sustainable.
Absolute. Love it. Love it. Rob, any closing sentiments?
Yeah, but listen, I look at conflict like chiseling. Every conflict is another chisel. And all the conflicts shape the person. And then based off your experience through the conflict will decide what kind of person you became through the conflict.
Love it. Awesome. Man, I'll tell you what, man, those gold rimmed glasses, bring the noise and some of the wisdom there with you, brother. I love it. Chris, anything you'd like to add before I close this out?
Well, just absolutely what Joe and Rob just said. There's always the opportunity is always disguised in the challenge or the conflict. The conflict is what I would coin the process, because for all the things that we experience, the setbacks and challenges, this is part of the process, the stepping stones to get into the solution for sustainable success. It's how you look at it. It's how you look at it from the solution rather than the problem. So it's why it's imperative at a young age to teach our children, by being the example, how to operate from the solution, from limitless beliefs. And you can only do that if you're doing it yourself. You can't be the example to your children if you are otherwise. So this is why it's so important to be aware of what is being said here and to find out more information, and how this could also impact not only what goes on in your homes, but how you do business. This is why you need to check out what Rob and Glenn are doing at SB CEO, Small Business CEO. I mean, the whole concept of small business is built around family values and how we can build sustainable business from that premise. And then what we're doing at EFA is the same thing. When you go to EFA.org, or excuse me, EFAmovement.org. And then also, a big shout out to, Brad and Ellie with Parent You Up. The EFAmovement.com is another place that we do provide that evidence-based modification programs that are available for parents that they can tap in anytime. So you can't do this alone. We're all responsible. We're all learning from one another, and everyone's got to embrace the process and be open to suggestions and to see what could be holding them back. So we encourage you to really become aware and get as much information as possible from these sources to start making these changes that will improve the quality of your life, set the foundation for success for your children, and also for your business.
Love it. So I'd like to give a shout out again, of course, to Ellie and Brad and everything that they're doing. Such a proud partnership that we have with them. I'd like to give a shout out to Sophie and Bob at the Laughter Mindset. Sophie opened a door for us that is going to lead to tremendous things. What a blessing. Really make sure that you're aligned with the right people, ladies and gentlemen. Parents, children alike, everybody deserves to have awesome people, and the people that we have in our lives, everybody deserves that. Rob and Glenn, shout out to you guys for everything that you are doing with SB CEO. Thank you, as always, for your time, brother. And I want to say this as we close this out. Ladies and gentlemen, we talked a lot about empowerment, prosperity, mindset, acceptance, clarity, really powerful things. So much of that comes from the mind and the heart of Chris and Joe, and I get to trickle in some of my hilariousness and wisdom in there as well. I encourage everybody, when you click on the donate button, whether on our website or on our Facebook page, we're doing something really cool that we're really proud of here at the EFA movement. And it did not take any convincing with my partners to get them to agree to allow me to throw this out there for people. So what we decided to do is tier donations out. Donations are greatly accepted no matter what, but we tiered this out and kind of put a little spin on it. Rather than giving you a hat or a t-shirt or something that you're going to have to maintain, right? Like, who wants to have to keep washing? It's just, we're giving you laundry, right? Like, who wants to try to maintain that? We're giving something because we're all about giving and value. We're giving you something that will empower this sustainability. So I encourage everybody to look at the packages because we're giving tremendous value. We have the 5-day free trial with our partners with Parent Me Up and Ellie and Brad. We have copies of Chris's international best-selling book, Master Your Inner Critic, which this guy over here has on his, it's like my bat belt. And we have Joe's Right Father, Right Son. And I know Rob's going to be getting some stuff over to us. We have a clarity program that we have that Chris allowed us to use. We have amazing stuff where we're tying in coaching and leadership development into the donation platform because we want to empower homes, classrooms, communities, and corporations at the EFA movement. That's how we empower those sustainable solutions. So thank you, as always, to Joe Cohen, our president and CEO, the master of content and curriculum. Much love and gratitude, of course, to our CEO and co-founder, the master of the movement himself, Mr. Chris Salem, the master of not just the glasses, but making 1 billion people healthy. However he's going to do it, we are there to support that movement with him as well. Rob Howes, thank you so much for your time, your heart, your energy, and your wisdom, brother. And thank you to your partner, Glenn, as well as always. Ladies and gentlemen, I am blessed with the quote of Master of the Message. I'm the proud Director of Community Relations here at the EFA Movement. Visit our website, efamovement.org. Learn about our movement. Learn how you can be involved. Visit efamovement.com to learn about our 24/7 parenting solution process. Behavior modification mixed with humor. That sounds like a really good bowl of cereal. Who doesn't want that? Ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic evening. Thank you for your love and support. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Have a great night. Time to go eat.
Good night. Love you guys.